My best friend hooked me up with a close girlfriend of hers. She was exquisite, this friend. Long hair, tattooed head to toe, a talented artist herself. She was gorgeous, big, sad eyes, and a fine, odd sense of humor. We had immediate rapport, our affair burned bright and hot, and we were soon a couple. It soon, too soon, became apparent that there was a mess inside her, a mess I had not made and couldn't clean up. Come Christmas Eve, I was driving down the coast in my roommate's car to see my mother. I stopped at a strip mall in a dying old surf town to buy my mama a present. She was fond of napping, my mother, so I went to a discount department store to get her a plush leopard print throw pillow. As I waited in line, my phone buzzed in my pocket, a text from my girlfriend. I miss you. I put my phone back in my pocket and rolled my eyes. I felt a twinge of sadness at my callousness, this odd private moment in public. I put the pillow in the car and walked across the parking lot to get a cup of coffee. As I waited in line, my phone buzzed in my pocket again. A text from my best friend. I miss you. I put my phone back in my pocket, and my heart burst right the fuck out of my chest. Butterflies, the whole bit. It hit me like a cancer diagnosis left on an answering machine. Fuck me. I had a fucking good old-fashioned, bona fide, hand-to-God love triangle on my hands. It's such an old fucking story. I got back in the car, sat there in the driver's seat, there in the strip mall parking lot, squinted from the sun as I lit a cigarette, blew smoke hard up toward the ceiling, and wondered what would happen. Let y'all in on a little secret too. I'll tell you what happened. It was a big fucking mess. That's what happened. This is called Why Would You Do That? Sick in bed, I dreamed that you showed up at my house. You were laughing as you woke me up by rubbing your bare feet on my face. At first, I was mad that you would come all that way just to do something like that to me. Then, I was even madder when I realized you hadn't. Alright, this one's called Riviera. There are those that want a Lotus or a Bentley, and some folks want an Escalade with 22-inch Daytons. Some kind souls just want to drive one of them hybrid cars that get real quiet when you drive them slow. Some folks even ask Jesus to help them get that van or pickup, and hell, from the stories I've heard, sometimes he even does. Me, all I ever wanted was a 1964 Buick Riviera. The lines, the power, those signature scoops on the side, like driving a shark. A loud steel shark. I found one once, a beautiful gunmetal gray, all that chrome, white wall tires, just right for me. It had even been outfitted with a tape deck. But once I bought it, there were problems. The belts were worn, the transmission slipped and bucked. Even the windshield wipers would turn off or on without warning, unpredictably, as though possessed. Driving it became scary, but not in the exhilarating way. Its unpredictability, its unreliability became irritating, wearisome, finally outright exhausting. I doted on it so, but I became resentful. There was only so much I could do. I'm not a mechanic. I don't have the time or inclination to learn. Waiting through a junkyard looking for parts sounds romantic, but let's be honest, I have shit to do. So I sold it. The guy who bought it was a friend of a friend. I would see him driving it around the city and be seized with jealousy, just blind rage. He looked so cool in my fucking car. I wanted to kill him, would see it parked and want to key it, slash his tires, put sugar in his gas tank. I had only myself to blame. Had given it up, glad to be rid of it. But this irrational rage, it was mine, and I wanted it back. But then something happened. I was riding the bus in the rain and saw him standing by the side of the road, the hood smoking, waiting for AAA. It happened once, twice, 3 times. I laughed and laughed at his misfortune, so glad that it was his problem now. And baby, that's what happened with you and me. Alright, some of y'all are kind of sick of this one, but the cat that it's about is here tonight, so I'm going to read it. It's called I Know, It's Serious for Mose, Eli Lilly and Co., who, for the record, are the people that make Prozac, and William Taylor Jr. It was a deep depression. It had been going on for months. It started with a chick who didn't feel the way I thought she ought to, and then fed on itself, festering, as these things do. I was wearing out all the grooves on my honky-tonk records, my blues records, the kitchen floor covered in bottles. I was filthy, wasn't eating. I was having trouble getting to work, and I didn't work until 4 in the afternoon. It's getting ridiculous. I was working with my best friend that night. I went and pulled the Morrissey tape off the shelf, put it with the employee holds. This is a different best friend than the one I fell in love with, by the way. Sorry, dude. He saw the tape and he panicked. "You're depressed," he shouted when he'd finished with his customer. "You can't watch Morrissey videos, you'll fucking kill yourself." "You don't understand," I said. "I fucking hate Morrissey. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go home, get good and drunk, watch the goddamn tape, take a good look at Morrissey, and I'll be so ashamed and embarrassed that I've been taking myself so fucking seriously that this will all be over." That's exactly what I did. Alright, so some fucking stranger on Facebook asked to be my friend and then started talking shit about a pretty boy writing street poems. So I'm a little self-conscious about that shit, so I'm going to read a poem about how I'm a little self-conscious about that shit. It's called Mean Streets. It's a little embarrassing, I said, but I write poetry. I'm doing a reading next week. You should come by if you can. "What do you write about?" she asked. "Story poems mostly," I replied. They don't rhyme or anything. I shifted my weight from foot to foot, embarrassed. I was really impressed when your shit rhymed, by the way. Yeah. She was kind of a salty broad. But I mean, she was sitting in a cafe reading a book, an actual book, not one of those computerized gizmos. She was a salty broad. I knew her from the AA meetings we both attended, but she drank loose-leaf herbal tea, for Christ's sake. "Well, what are they about?" she insisted. "Life on the mean streets?" She was a salty broad. Her sarcasm stung, but I laughed it off. Sort of. I mean, I don't think anybody wants to read about me lying in bed watching movies and snuggling with my cat. "You never know," she said, adjusting her glasses and looking back down at her book, dismissing me. "I might." I went home, put on the King of Comedy, got in bed with Rudy, and thought about what she had said. Alright, this is called Vagrant Speech, Turk and Leavenworth, 2012, parentheses, Lord help the poor and needy. He said, "He didn't know how to drive. He didn't know how to read. He didn't know how to boil an egg. Khrushchev didn't even know how to make oatmeal." That's how Kennedy felt about Khrushchev. Every American knows how to boil an egg. Every American knows how to eat oatmeal, how to make oatmeal. In 1963, Kennedy was talking loudly in German. That's why Johnson invented noise-canceling headphones. Noise-canceling headphones. Maybe he was just crazy, but he sounded like he knew what he was talking about. I can drive a stick. I can read and make oatmeal, and I know more than one person that I wish would shut the fuck up, but maybe I need to make a scene every once in a while, or maybe I just need to learn how to boil an egg. Alright, this is called Fortune Cookie Fortune, about social stratification, institutional racism, and the American criminal justice system. The man with holes in his shoes must be extra careful not to step in shit. So I often have holes in my shoes, and I hadn't stepped in shit in like a really long time. And 2 days in a row, like one for each shoe, like, you know, you feel that slip, and then you like realize what happened, and my shoes were worn almost all the way through, and I was thinking about what a pain in the ass it would be if it got up in there. And then I thought it was a deep thought and turned it into a fucking poem. Work with what you got. It's called bricolage. Alright, this is new, it's not in the book. It's called Extended Metaphor. I've heard of these shamanic power animals. Power animals are supposed to represent a person's connection to all life, their qualities of character, and their power. Bullshit modern people have adopted a bullshit version of this totemic belief. Except these bullshit modern people just make up their own and pretend they've always had it and that it means something to them. So I've given it some thought and decided to join them. I'm as full of shit as the next guy. My power fucking animal is the snail. That means something to me. Alright, this is called I'm Proud to Be an American. Ain't nobody ever got their heart broke that didn't fall in love with something first. I want to thank Pegasus for having us here tonight. I always feel hella legitimate when I read a Pegasus. It's like books on the wall by people that I've heard of, and there's a microphone and a podium. So I'm going to read some poemy shit. It's called Poem Fragment About the Wind, number 1. The wind turns my ancient window into the angry drunk in the back of the squad car, violently thrashing in vain against the shackles of its frame. Alright, so we're to the beginning, so that means that I'm done. This is going to be my last one. It's called An Errand. We were going to her family's house for dinner. I think it was her mother's birthday. I'd gotten her daughter ready, made sure her hair was brushed, gotten her into her jacket, gotten her into her car seat. As we drove across town toward the freeway north, she pulled to the curb in front of the bar. I looked at her blankly, uncomprehending. She looked me right in the eye and just said, "We're late already, hurry up." I ran inside, the door closing behind me, a tiny, rapid dusk. Told the bartender, "We're going to our mother's, let me have a shot." He smiled, filled a tumbler to the rim. I took it back in one swallow, left $1 on the car and on the bar and trotted back out to the car. As she pulled back out into the autumn afternoon sunlight, Sadie in her car seat singing softly along with the radio. We didn't say a word, but I knew then that she loved me like she said she did. Go down.